Social studies. So, speaking of the preamble, what is it? What part of the Constitution is it? Owen. Yes. What does it do? Is the preamble it what? Introduces the what? M. Yes. So let's read it. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect country, to establish justice, to ensure peace, to provide for the defense of the nation, to promote the welfare of its people, and to secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and to the future generations, establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, what do you see different with your little preamble? Yours has what that you notice that it doesn't have in here? Wensheen. Yes. The meanings. Now this is what the real preamble looks like. Doesn't give all the, it just gives this side. It doesn't give the little definition. Form a more peaceful union, build the best nation possible. Establish justice. What does that say? Protect. Let's read it together, please. Protect under the law. Ensure domestic tranquility.
Keep peace for our hopes and
Provide for the common defense.
be ready to protect our people from attack.
Promote the general welfare.
Encourage well-being for everyone.
And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity.
Safeguard freedom for ourselves and families to come.
And do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Do authorize and set up the Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, very nice. Now we see this is what the actual preamble looks like. Who are these people signing this big piece of paper on our picture? Who are these? What is the name for these people? And where are they? Little review. Each state sent what to ratify the Constitution? Who are these people? James. The delegates. Very good. The delegates' main purpose was to agree on how to write a constitution. What is the Constitution? What is the Constitution, friends? Is it just a nice little comic book or story written about these people? No. What is the Constitution? Tell me what it is. I don't see many hands up and you act so surprised when I say a little story. What is it? It's a little kind of important. Tyson.
It is the things of laws
that our founding fathers came up because the United States was just forming. At this time, how many states were part of the United States? Cole? 13. Not many. So, it says on your book in page 1, the Constitution of the United States of America is the most significant political document in human history. You can read with me. It sets forth, no, not out loud, just to yourself. It sets forth the revolutionary idea that government should be of the people, by the people, and for the people. What does that mean? The government should be of the people, by the people, and for the people. Who decides who is the president? Who decides who is a senator, congressman? Who votes for these people in the highest levels of power in our government? Do they vote themselves in?
No.
Does the king vote them in?
No.
Who votes them them in? Toby? No. Who votes the president, the vice president, senators, and congressmen into power? Jeremiah? Yes, we the people. So when it says the Constitution, our government is of the people, us, by the people, us, and for the people, us. Because we have a say, we vote. We decide who we want voted in. Sometimes we make good choices, sometimes we don't. It's always a pendulum. Do we always agree?
No.
Did the delegates agree while they were creating the Constitution? No. Not at all, actually. It was very difficult. 4 months of arguing. The type of government was the exception, not the rule. At the time the Constitution was adopted, kings and emperors had failed. Our founders knew that it was time for something completely new and different. Where did our founding fathers come from? Were they born in the United States of America? Where did they come from? Luke. England and Europe. Who was the leader of England? Let's hear it again. Grant. King George III. Dun, 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 yes. So they escaped, basically, not escaped, but they left England because they did not like being ruled by a king. So they wanted to make sure that that was not what's going to be the way of the United States. It was not going to be ruled by a king. What did the founders have in mind? Well, as Thomas Jefferson wrote, our country was embarking on a great experiment. What is an experiment? Does that mean you're going to know exactly what the ending is? What the outcome is going to be?
No.
Tyson?
They don't know what it will be, so they're just testing it.
Yes. Trial and error. Sometimes things worked and sometimes things didn't. But I have to say, the Constitution has weathered a lot of storms and it's still moving forward. In Republican democracy that would prove the man is capable of living in society, governing itself by laws self-imposed, and securing to its members the enjoyment of life, liberty, property, and peace. So, the founding fathers wanted a country to be ruled and governed by the people, for the people to make decisions. So they started voting, the electoral vote. Who is going to be our president? Who was the first president? McKenna. George Washington. Did he just step up and say, I'm the president?
No.
No. Was he voted in as president? Yes. He was. So here are describing what is the Congress, all of their jobs, their responsibilities, the Senate. What is the Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate? What part of the government is that? There are 3 branches, remember. Congress and the House of Representatives are part of what branch of government? Ooh, we need to learn this, friends. Owen. No. Grant. No. We have one more to go by. Boy. McKenna. Legislative. Congress. Senate. Legislative. Now, did that start off with the 2 branches at the beginning? No. Remember, there was a huge uproar about one branch of government or one house in the legislative branch, and so they divided into 2. Remember, they were fighting because they wanted the big states to have more delegates.
No.
And so they said that's not fair. So then they formed the Senate. What is the executive branch? Who presides over that? Christian.
The president.
And the,
Vice president.
yes. And who is our president? Boy?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Who is our vice president? Who is our vice president, friends? Toby. Kamala Harris, first vice president in the history of the United States of America.
No.
Should the vice president? Yes. Excuse me? Woman, then. She's the first female vice president. We have never had a female vice president before. Who? Oh, okay. Nor have we had a female president, so maybe one of you will be that person.
No, thank you. No, thank you. What responsibilities?
It would not be a fun job. I don't think. It just would be a very difficult job, but a very important one. All right, who's talking and why? Thank you. All right, so this all goes in. This talks about Article 2, talks about the president. Now, what I would recommend for all of you is to keep this for the rest of this chapter and maybe into the next, because it gives you precisely what the Constitution does. Talks about the military, what that does, the courts, who's in the judicial branch of government, who resides or presides over that, Tessa? The Supreme Court judges. Now, they are the one exception. Do we, the people, vote the Supreme Court judges into power?
No.
How does that all go about? Who nominates them? Meaning, who decides, I would like this person to be a judge? Who decides that? Grayson.
Us.
No. We have nothing to do with the Supreme Court justices. We have no say in it. We don't have any vote in it. So who nominates Supreme Court Justice? Toby. The President of the United States. So the President of the United States nominates a candidate to be a Supreme Court judge, and then Senate and House have to vote on it. We, the people, have no say. Now, do Supreme Court judges, now Senate, House, President, all have limits of power?
Yes.
Does the Supreme Court have a limit? The judge have a does the Supreme Court judges have a limit of power? Like
Yes.
4 years, 5 years, 10 years? No.
No.
They are judges as long as they are alive. We just lost a huge Supreme Court justice, Justice Ginsburg. And she, I don't off the top of my head, don't know how long she was a judge, for a very long time. And she was a judge for a very long time. So she was on the court until the day she died. Or if you get so sick that you cannot fulfill your responsibilities. So the Supreme Court justices are extremely powerful, extremely important. They're nominated by the President of the United States. They're voted in by the Senate and the Congress, House of Representatives, and it's a lifelong appointment. It's a big deal. So, on page 15 of your little book, it talks about the judicial power of the United States will be given to the Supreme Court. Now, there are state courts as well. Madison has a Wisconsin Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. is the highest level of judicial power. So that is, judges are appointed for life. All judges are entitled to be paid, and their pay cannot be decreased while they are in office. I don't even know if anybody even knows what they're paid. But it is probably one of the highest honors that a person in law can receive. Well, it is the highest honor. Now, can there be as many Supreme Court judges as you want? Can you just keep nominating and nominating and nominating?
No.
Is there a limit to how many judges there are?
Yes.
Does anyone know the magical number? Owen?
9.
Yes. So no one can be nominated in until one of the judges either dies or can no longer fulfill their obligations. And then someone else will be nominated in. So there aren't many judges and there aren't that many opportunities to be a Supreme Court judge. So that is about the judges. Now what is the Bill of Rights? We're going to be talking about that. So friends, you can look at this, keep this, please keep it safe. Actually, you know, I might take them and just give them back to you tomorrow so you can look at them. Because this belongs to the school, and as you can tell, it's a very nice book. Oh, and I need you to wake up. So if you want to look at them later, that's fine. Otherwise, I will probably take them and give them back to you later, because I don't want these to get ripped or torn. All right, so the preamble we talked about. We talked about the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. Who can tell me what a Federalist is and an Anti-Federalist? Let's start with the Federalists. What are they? Who are they? Who were they? Grayson.
They were the people who wanted the Constitution.
They were the people who wanted the Constitution. So then, process of elimination. What is Anti-Federalist? Jeremiah.
People who did not like the Constitution.
Yes. So the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists were fighting. What a shock. So we talked about, you did your little Venn diagram. Let us talk about the Constitution. So open your books, your text, your manual 26. It looks like this. So before, let's see, 42 and 44. Let's do this before we move on. It's not much to do. So a delegate who said that all the delegates should vote for the Constitution. Whose voice was very strong and got all the delegates to sign the Constitution? Does anyone remember his name? He was even in our movie. He had funny little round glasses. That's how I always remember him. I think he's cute with those little glasses. Grayson. Benjamin Franklin. Yes.
Is that right here? Yeah, that's him.
Yes. With those little round glasses. That is Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, he's kind of standing back.
Yeah.
But I don't think, no, that is Benjamin Franklin. That doesn't look like George Washington, but it might be.
Yeah, that wasn't maybe.
It could be.
Maybe it doesn't look.
I don't know. I guess, honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's not the pictures from what I've seen of him before.
It doesn't look like that.
Could be. So here's the founding fathers. James Madison, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, Roger Sherman, and Benjamin Franklin.
Yep. Roger.
Maybe your Roger is one of the same. So these are the founding fathers. 55 delegates attended the Constitutional Convention. These 5 men played important roles in the creation of the Constitution and are often called the Founding Fathers. pretty impressive. Show you all. So, and then here is a picture, kind of fun to show you pictures. That was actually drawn, but of the Constitutional Convention. The Constitutional Convention began where? What city was the Constitutional Convention taking place at? You should all know this. Where did the Constitutional Convention take place? Luke. No. Jonathan.
Pennsylvania,
Philadelphia. The city is Philadelphia, that is in the state of Pennsylvania. May of 1787. The delegates' original goal was to revise the what? What was the very first set of laws they came up immediately with after the Revolutionary War? And it didn't really work well. Tyson.
The Articles of Federation.
The Articles of Confederation. By the end of the convention, however, they had written a new plan for government, the Constitution of the United States. So these things are, friends, that you need to start learning, because when we have a test, guess what's going to be on it? All of these things that we're talking about. So I would start taking your book home and learning these things. Now these are the signers of the U.S. Constitution. Now I asked my husband, because there is a George Reed spelled exactly like our name. And initially we thought that he was part of the family tree, but I guess not. He did a family tree. Although there was a Reed married to Benjamin Franklin. Isn't that cool? So my little friend with the round glasses was kind of in my husband's family tree. But these are all the founders, the signers of the Constitution. And there's George. That's what I always think George Washington looks like. That is George Washington. He has a very distinct look.
Dude, that does look like him a lot. Is that him?
That is George Washington, right here. Right here at the...
In our book, one of the things, that's how George Washington...
Yep, that's the same picture. That's the picture that I feel is accurate. But these are all the signers of the Constitution. And our first president. So how many were there? How many delegates? Look in your book. How many delegates attended the Constitutional Convention? There you go. Helen? 55. All right. So this also is a very famous picture, the one right here, of George Washington standing up of the convention. And I think that is when they finally came to an agreement. Yeah, is that the same? Well, that's the same one. It's in your book as well. It's a very famous photo of the convention, the Constitutional Convention. What page is that? 49. No, not 49. 40. Yes. Signing of the Constitution by Howard Chandler Christie, 1873 to 1952, whatever. So there you have it. And there you can see Benjamin Franklin sitting in the front with his blue suit and glasses. All right, so what are the Bill of Rights? What are the Bill of Rights? That is something that they needed to agree upon before they signed or ratify the Constitution. What does it mean to ratify? A word that you should know as well. Helen. To ratify is to sign. James Madison needed to help get Virginia to ratify or approve the Constitution, meaning they needed to sign. We're getting ahead of ourselves. But anyways, what is the Bill of Rights? What are the Bill of Rights? Cole.
I have a question.
Yes.
You did post social studies yesterday for virtual.
Okay. I did, but maybe it didn't get uploaded. All right, Bill of Rights. What is the Bill of Rights? Does anybody know what the Bill of Rights are? It's added to the Constitution. M.
It shows it in here.
What page? Just so you all can. Also,
19. Yeah. Can you really read it though?
right, I'm trying to find it in the book. I found it and then now I lost it. So it's between 42 and 45, 42 and 44 in our book. The Bill of Rights. It's basically added laws to the Constitution because the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists could not agree. So many Americans agreed that the Constitution needed a Bill of Rights. Even though they trusted the Constitution, they knew it set up a strong government. Americans wanted to protect their freedoms from the government. So the Bill of Rights are added protection for we the people. Because they are so concerned about the government having too much power, that was a way for the Anti-Federalists to come aboard the Constitution, was by adding the Bill of Rights. So if on your manual, it shows you what the Bill of Rights are. There's 10. Freedom of religion, speech, press, and assembly. Right to bear arms is 2. 3, limits on housing of soldiers. 4, limits on searches and seizures. 5, right to due process of law, meaning you have a right to go to court to be proven innocent or guilty. Number 6, rights of a person accused of a crime, meaning you have rights and you get to go through courts to prove your innocence or guilt. So someone can't just accuse you of something and then throw you into prison. No, you have a right to have a fair trial. 7, right to a jury trial in civil cases. 8, forbidding of unfair bail, fines, and punishments. So these are all protecting you. Like King George III, he could throw anyone in jail and nobody would do anything. No one could do anything because he had ultimate power. This Bill of Rights is preventing someone to have that much power that they can do these things. 9, rights not listed in the Constitution given to citizens. And 10, powers to reserve to the states or people. These are rights of the people. This was added to protect us even more from a too powerful government like King George III. He had all power, all say. The Founding Fathers wanted to make sure that never happened again in the United States of America. So many Americans agree that the Constitution needed a Bill of Rights. Number 2. Please write that down. Further protection of we the people. So, if you were to look at that whole list on page 26, it says, write the Bill of Rights number that allows for each situation. So I'm going to read, Mr. Braddock is buying a gun. Which Bill of Rights number gives him the right to do so. James. 2. The right to bear arms. Mrs. Clark writes for a newspaper. Which is that? Bill of Rights. Which number? Boy. Yes. 1. Freedom of the religion, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly and petition, and freedom of the press. The press is the newspapers, media, TV, news. That is the press. Let us do, I'm not going to make you write a letter of encouragement.
Oh, that's going to be very long. How about tomorrow?
You can if you want. If you want to pick one of the founding fathers and write a letter of encouragement, go for it. But I'm not going to make you do that. All right, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's do the map activity because maps are fun. So on page 28, there's a map activity. So you notice your handy dandy what on the bottom right hand? What is that? Has directions on it. What is that called? Grant. Yes. What body of water is northeast of West Lake? Find West Lake. That's northeast of West Lake. Who can find West Lake? Put your finger on it. No, that's not West Lake. Where is West Lake? There you are. There you go. There you go. Okay. Good. 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 All right. All right, where would you go if you were going to go northeast? Good. Northeast. What body of water is northeast of West Lake? So here's north. Northeast is this direction. Remember, find that little. So put the direction right here, and this is where you're going to go. So what body of water goes northeast of West Lake? Raise your hand when you have the answer. So basically, here's West Lake. You're going northeast. What body of water am I going to hit? Go ahead, McKenna. Tyson.
You would hit Eagle Lake.
Eagle Lake. So here is West Lake. Northeast is directly this direction, and you come right to Eagle Lake. You're going to go swimming in Eagle Lake.
Yay.
What direction does the wagon train? So where is the wagon train? Find that on your map and point to it. The wagon train. We're working on this. The wagon train. Point to the wagon train on your map. Very small. Called Pioneer Wagons.
Oh, I think I just found it.
There you go. Not very big. Did you find it? Where is it? Where is it? There you go. All right. Good. All right. Wagon train. Yay for the wagon train. All right. Good. Good.
That looks like fun. That's a good
I think it'd be very bumpy and hard. Okay, what direction direction does the wagon train need to travel to reach Fort Pine? Fort Pine. It is the fort that has a red flag right here. What direction does it have to go? So find your wagon train. Here is your what direction? Look at your compass. Raise your hand if you have your answer. Make sure you look on your compass to figure out whoa, it went flying. So here's my wagon train, and here's the fort. What direction is my pencil going? Toby, what direction is that? No, here's the wagon. The wagon train is north. So what direction is it going to get to Fort Pine? Southwest, is that what you said? Yes. Very good. Very good. What direction would soldiers from Fort Pine have to go to get to the Indian village? Where is the Indian village? You will find their little teepees are right here. Now the teepees are directly what direction? James? Yeah. Or, yeah, southeast. So if they are going to, if the Fort Pine, so Fort Pine is here, what direction are they going to go? And James is right, southeast. See how my pencil, if I go over here, southeast. All right, this is what I want you to do, friends. I want you to take home your manuals or textbooks, and I want you to study and look at all the bold words. I want you to get to know what is going on with the Constitution. So I want you to start on page 29. Get out your manuals. I'm seeing a lot of blank faces. Remember we talked about skimming. I want you to skim through and look at the bold words. And I want you to start familiarizing yourself with that. So starting on page 29 where it says the Constitution. Sorry, my writing is kind of at a slant.
Where should we put our book?
I'll take them. Just leave them on your desk and I'll collect them. Thank you. So skim. Now, I am not asking you to read all these pages in its entirety. That is not what I'm asking. I want you to go through and look at the bold words. Those are words I want you to familiarize yourself with, okay? Because there's going to be a test soon. If you don't start familiarizing yourself with these words, with these people, with these events, you are going to be lost. This is important information. So who can tell me what it means to scan? Does it mean you read it and then read word for word?
No.
What are you going to do? What does it mean to scan? Olivia.
Scan means like go through it and review.
Yes, go through it, find the highlighted words, take note of the highlight bolded words. All right, we do not put anything on their desks.